Planting fruit trees can be one of the more intimidating things that you do in your garden or orchard. A fruit tree, there's so much initial cost, then there's the care that is required, and then you've got to wait a few years and keep that thing alive so that it'll actually start producing fruit for you. In this video, I want to show you what I have found out of all of these trees to be the easiest tree to deal with, especially for a beginner. Let's get busy. So I made a spreadsheet recently just to keep track of all this stuff, and it turns out that I've got something like 80 fruit trees and caning and vining fruit-bearing plants between our main orchard here and our test orchard in the front. And as I've worked with it, it's occurred to me that some of these are just easier to work with than others. Some just take hardly any attention at all, and some need, babysitting. And so that's what I'd like to talk through in this video. As I look through my recommendation for the easiest fruit tree to grow, I'm going to be looking for a few things. Something that isn't as sensitive to pruning, something that grows with fairly minimal input where you're not having to baby it with water or whatever else, and something that is fairly pest resistant, so that way if you plant it and it grows, you're going to be happy with it. And finally, something that you can plant on its own and doesn't require another compatible pollinating variety, because oftentimes you'll need two different kinds of trees in order to have some sort of fruiting, whereas an ideal tree, especially for somebody just getting started, is to start out with a single tree. And so I'm going to talk through some of those. Oh, and at the end of this video, I'm going to be telling you what I think is the hardest tree for a backyard grower to grow. So stay tuned for that, I'll fill you in. Hey, so before this video continues, why don't you take a second to put what you think is the easiest fruit tree to grow in the comments below. I really want to see how close we are to the same answer. Well, being in Southern California, specifically Zone 9B, right up against these mountains that are invisible today because of the clouds, we have a fair number of chill hours, which deciduous trees like cherries and nectarines and things like that will often need in order to develop those buds into fruit effectively, as well as being warm enough to grow citrus and other subtropicals like avocado. In fact, all of these properties over here used to be lemon groves, and so citrus can grow really well here. And so that's given me an opportunity to test out a number of categories of fruit as opposed to being in a very tropical environment or something like that. And in all the time that I've been looking at which trees give me the least amount of hassle, the least amount of headache, and the least amount of worry, I return to my citrus. If you are starting out and you're feeling nervous about a fruit tree and just want to get started, I think the citrus is one of the most bulletproof, foolproof ways that you can plant a tree. So let me talk through a few of the advantages of planting a citrus over other varieties for somebody who is first starting out. Well, first of all, citrus is an evergreen shrub in a lot of respects and can be pruned like that. And so it's not very sensitive to needing to be pruned in order to regenerate fruiting wood. Citrus, you kind of can just leave it alone, removing maybe some, if there are any dead branches or dying or diseased, broken branches, you can remove those. But generally speaking, you don't have to mess with citrus in order for it to be productive. This can tolerate you pruning it into any shape you want. Now you might notice down here that the skirt of these citrus trees goes all the way to the ground, and that looks different than maybe the usual tree you're used to seeing with a stem, a trunk going up and then having a canopy up top. You can prune it whichever way you want. Some people like Kevin Espiritu, we planted a citrus, an orange tree in his yard, and he is going and extending that out in terms of making a citrus hedge. You can literally come through with some shears and just shape it into a hedge if you want, and then you've got a fruiting hedge, which is so cool. So it's very, very resilient when it comes to pruning. Now let's talk about the amount of care and intervention that it requires. Citrus is also very disease resistant. Now there are a couple of things that are really scary and dangerous that are starting on the East Coast and trying to make their way over here with this greening effect that happens. It's a whole other thing. But generally speaking, especially for the backyard grower, citrus doesn't develop a lot of pests or disease. You'll notice here on this Arctic Star nectarine, you notice this peach leaf curl that has happened. And this can really stress a tree. In fact, this year is much better than last year on all of my nectarines. These all got really hit hard last year. I had to come through with some copper spray and spray all these down, and it looks like it worked. Actually, it looks really good. I'm very, very pleased to see this lot of straight foliage out of here. But citrus doesn't need that sort of stuff for the most part. Even the pests that you do get, things like leaf miner, which can sometimes come in and attack the bottom of some of the foliage and create a little bit of curling, are not even that major an issue. You notice the rest of the tree, without any intervention, I haven't sprayed this not even one time, are looking really, really good, even though there's been some leaf miner. So with respect to needing to come in and intervene with pests and pathogens and things like that, citrus is very resilient, which makes it a great candidate for a beginner. Another thing, speaking of pests, is that compared to some of those soft-skinned fruit like plums and peaches and nectarines and even apples, we don't have the same amount of pest pressure on our citrus. We don't have birds attacking our citrus. We don't have most of those little critters that would come and want to eat it. Stay away from our citrus. Yeah, they may favor some of the others in the yard, but generally our citrus is left alone and we don't run into any sort of pest issues with it. So that's really another positive thing too. Nothing worse than when you come out to go pick your fruit and you see that 10 of the 12 that you have on your tree have been pecked by something. Another thing that makes citrus so wonderful for the beginner is that it's self-fruitful, which means that it doesn't need another compatible variety to pollinate it. Even though I've got these planted here, this Washington navel orange and this Caracara orange, navel orange, next to each other, they don't actually need each other in order to set fruit. And look at how much little fruit is on this guy this year. Look at all these flowers have been pollinated and are all setting fruit. So for the backyard grower who's wanting to start off with just a single tree, instead of trying to find some compatible variety, making sure they flower at the right times, it's wonderful to be able to come and plant something like this Valencia orange, look at loaded with blooms, and know that this is going to yield a giant set of fruit the next year. Here's the issue though, is that citrus grows in USDA zones 8 to 10. Being that it's a subtropical, it can't tolerate temperatures into the 20s very well. You start running into some frost damage and things like that. There are some cold hardy varieties, I think like kumquats, for example, might be hardy down to like a true USDA zone 8, but even that's pushing it. So if you're wanting to plant it outside, I want to speak to you if you're in one of those colder zones. And I want to give you an alternate one, one of my deciduous trees that I think is easier, that might work in your climate. So let me talk about that really quick. So if you've been watching this channel, you know that I love the blooms of these nectarines. I love the anticipation of those apples growing, but some of them have been fraught with some sort of issues. We've had peach leaf curl, we've had fungal issues, we've had some blight on our apples and even our pears over there. We've loved our plums and things like that, but those plums and things like that are sometimes develop cankers on the wood, and the pluots, even though the fruit is so wonderful, sometimes they're getting pecked by things. There's a fruit, a deciduous fruit that we've been so pleased with. It's blown our minds in terms of the ease that it's grown and how wonderful the fruit has been. And if you've been watching this channel, you know that I'm probably talking about the Jujube. The Jujube, which is sometimes called the Chinese date, is a terrific variety of fruit. Now, many of you, when you hear that Jujube, you think about that box of those little hard, chewy candies that you get at the movie theater. But the Jujube is a type of little fruit, and it almost resembles like a tiny apple, both in terms of its color and its consistency if you bite it while it's fresh, but also they can be dried. It's very popular in Asian culture where they will dry them out. They can sometimes make stews with them or Jujube tea, but we love to eat these things fresh. I've got a number of videos on the Jujube for you to get a little bit of a deeper dive, but the reasons why I like the Jujube, if you're in one of the cooler climates that can't support something like a citrus tree, if you're in, below, let's say, USDA zone 8, the Jujube is hardy down to zone 5 or 6 through 10. So you've got a lot more flexibility in terms of being able to deal with cooler weather with the Jujube. In addition to that, the Jujube is wonderful, and we found it to be wonderful for a few reasons. One, it has grown so easily. Here I've got this Lee Jujube, which is self-fruitful. If you're going to plant just one, you just plant that one, so it's self-fruitful. The long Jujube, which I have here, is not self-fruitful. It needs Lee in order to set fruit, but this makes a wonderful pairing here. Planting them, pruning them, cutting them, I've seen them respond without any sort of real issue. We've had tons of fruit every single year. And here's a key that has been so wonderful. As much as we like Jujubes, the animals don't seem to know about them. Not yet. And so we've been able to go through without losing much harvest or much crop to different types of winged pests or four-footed pests. The only pests that really seem to eat these things are the two-legged ones that are about this high and are my kids. So, and they're not pests, they're wonderful. I would love them to eat all the Jujubes they can eat. All right, this is going in a weird direction. Another thing about Jujubes that I love is that they are so hardy as far as they're not sensitive to watering. They're actually a wonderful drought resistant plant because you can put them in like the hottest, driest part of your yard. And after the second or third year, you almost don't even need to water it that much. And they do very, very well in the heat. They love to grow in the heat. And so we've got ours stuck in the middle of our yard here in the middle of the orchard. So that way it's getting plenty of sun and not near any shade, that afternoon shade that comes in. And so I really would advocate for a Jujube. Okay, so you're hearing me talk about this Jujube and you're thinking, okay, Cameron, I still don't get what a Jujube is. I don't want to take a risk on planting a tree that I'm gonna not end up liking. And so for you, I would say, go ahead and plant something like a nectarine or a peach. Nectarines and peach, as far as stone fruit grow, they grow pretty quickly. They're hardy down to these, lower USDA zones. They do require a little bit of intervention, which is why I'm not recommending them outright, but they're still really easy to grow trees. They fruit pretty quickly. Make sure though, if you do, that you buy a variety that's self-fruitful or you buy a compatible pollinator with it, so that way you end up with fruit. Little pro tip though, even if you get a self-fruitful variety, usually those will produce fruit. A larger harvest of fruit if you have a compatible pollinator with it. Even if it doesn't require it for fruiting, you usually get a better crop. So something to consider. So if you're absolutely dead set against a Jujube, going the route with like a nectarine or a peach is also a great option for you. Okay, I've talked about the easiest trees to grow in the orchard. The hardest tree that I think you should steer away from for the beginner backyard grower is the avocado. It kills me to say this because we love avocados. Avocados are an expensive fruit. They're a tasty fruit. We love our guacamole, but they are also notoriously one of the most temperamental fruit trees in the orchard. And the main reason for that is the way that we grow them. Avocados are subtropical, and so they're made to grow kind of under the canopy in the jungle, protected by this over canopy as they grow and develop and harden. But what we do is we grab them from the nursery where they're with all their other avocado friends, and we take and stick it out in the middle of an orchard by itself. And that can be a problem because avocados have this very tender green bark, but you can see that it's easy for it to get sunburned. That stresses the tree. Avocados need a ton of water. They also don't want too much water or else they can develop things like root rot. There are any number of things that can plague an avocado. Never mind the fact that they can take 3 to 5 years or even up to 7 years, depending on the size of the tree that you get, before they begin fruiting for you. And so these have really been hard fought avocados. I've had to replace this Hass avocado 2 other times. So this is the third one. The Pinkerton over there I've had to replace 1 time. I haven't had to replace that little cotto over there, but I've been smart and I've shielded it during the summertime with shade cloth. I'm going to be making a whole video on caring for your avocado, and so be sure to subscribe so that way you are alerted when that comes up. But I would not start with the avocado as much as you want to come out and see one of these things over here. It's just a really difficult fruit for the beginner grower, or at least if you're going to grow one, come in with the right expectations with it. So you might plant a citrus, you might plant a Jujube, you might plant a nectarine or a peach, you might plant a plum or a pluot, you might plant something else, and that's totally fine. Ultimately, you're going to learn more from the lessons that you learn along the way than what the busy gardener is able to tell you, because you're going to have your specific tree in your specific setting, and that's going to inform the way that you care for it and treat it. And so, hey, appreciate you tuning into this episode of The Busy Gardener. And wait, whether you've got one new, easy to work with tree in your yard and orchard or 500, until next time, stay busy.